Superintendent of Fauquier County Public Schools, another edition of One Hard Question. As I mentioned in the last One Hard Question, I didn't receive any questions last week, and then I received several questions this week, so people trying to keep me off balance, which is good for me. I'm going to pick two questions because one's really easy to answer, and it's very short. It comes from Tori, and Tori asked the following: would you ever consider later start times for the high schools? Well, yes, this is something that we are considering. This is something that the School Support Council began to study last year, and they've done multiple presentations at the various schools in the division about their desire to have later start times for high and middle school. And they presented to the school board this summer, May or June. The school board directed the school board office, myself, and senior staff to gather data, to research the subject, gather data relative to Fauquier County and their attitudes or opinions about later start times. So the first step in that process is a survey. Here it is. It's sort of in its final draft at this point. We spent quite a bit of time preparing this and working with School Support Council to get it just right. At the board meeting on Monday, the school board looked at this draft, offered additional suggestions. I'll take it back to School Support Council next Wednesday, probably get some feedback there, and then it'll go back before the board first part of November, and hopefully by the latter part of November we'll have it posted on the website, the survey, and it will be made available to students in grades 6 through 12, parents, teachers. We'll do a news release and probably a Global Connect phone call about the survey, and it'll also be open to local stakeholders, residents in the community who want to weigh in and offer an opinion. So that's coming up soon, very soon actually. And but again, this is the first step in the process. This is not going to happen if we did go to later start time high middle school. It wouldn't happen in fall of 2015. At the earliest, it'd be 2016. So that gives us plenty of time to study, figure out if there's any cost implications, etc. Next question is a very good question, and it's a guidance-related question, and I don't get many of those, and so this one is very apropos. It says, my husband nor I made it to college. My daughter is smart and gets good grades. However, as I never went to college, I don't know how to guide her in what courses to take and when to start applying and checking out colleges as well as scholarships. In my opinion, this is something students should be looking at in their freshman year. How does a student get informed of this, and who do they go to advise them? When do the guidance counselors start getting involved in guiding students on this? Great question. First, I applaud you for being aware of this and talking to your student about this in her freshman year. It's very important. Having said that, I want to remind you that in Fauquier County, students write a career plan while working with their counselor in 7th grade. They review the career plan again in 8th grade, and then they review it again in 11th grade. So that process really begins, as far as to your question about when does it start, really starts in 7th grade. And knowing that students change their mind about what they're interested in, etc., it's reviewed again in 8th and then 11th grade. Now, what I would suggest to you and to any parent who's wondering about these things is make an appointment with your child's counselor, or have your student make an appointment with her counselor, and ask the following questions, or ensure the following. One, if you expect or anticipate that your child's going to be college bound, they ought to be following an advanced studies diploma track. Very important. If you want to know more about that, go to the school's webpage, click on division, which is in the left-hand part of the webpage, click on departments, and click on instruction. And in there you'll see the program of studies. There's great information in the program of studies about classes that students ought to be taking when working towards an advanced diploma, etc., etc. What's offered in terms of dual enrollment, what's offered in terms of AP, more information about governor's school and who may or may not be interested in governor's school. It's a wealth of information. Next, and going back to the point I just made, it's important your child's talking to his counselor or her counselor. And if you're not getting the information, if your kids are anything like mine, you're probably getting this much information from them. You may want to make an appointment with the counselor yourself, just to make sure that they're following an advanced diploma track, If your child has an extreme interest in science and math, for example, they may want to be looking at governor school as an option. It's competitive, but it's a very good program. Um, and the college piece also. Uh, Freshman year is more of a time, I think, to be looking at where you may or may not want to go to school. It's a good time to perhaps maybe visit schools, or at least visit them virtually on the website. Way too early to be looking at scholarships and things like that, but that's coming. That's more of a junior year, 11th grade thing when they start applying for scholarships. But it certainly helps to know what's out there, know what's available. There's lots of scholarship money available locally and through the universities, colleges and universities, and typically it's needs-based. But it's important to have those conversations with guidance counselors now. That's critically important to be looking at schools, visiting schools, seeing what's out there, just even on the websites. Most of the college websites are outstanding in terms of providing information. And if you leave your name and address, email address with those colleges, they'll start sending you information even as early as freshman year. They'll start sending stuff right away. But yeah, there's a tremendous amount of information at the schools. Typically, our schools have some sort of career slash college center area where they can get information. So I would encourage them to do that. But talk to them, reach out to the counselors, and talk, and start planning now. Those career plans are good. They're very helpful for students. But what's more helpful is making sure, or what's more important, is making sure that the coursework your child's signing up for is going to lead them to, further down the road towards that career that they're interested in. If that makes sense. So, hope this is helpful to you. Hope you have a great day. Thanks very much.